live thing,
Okay.
scheduled. What in the world? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay. Hey, welcome to our first Authors of the Round Table. And I am so, you can't even, so excited to have with me, very appropriately, Tamara Leigh, who writes these. Okay, well, we'll get to that, but
Okay.
thank you. Thank you. This is so exciting.
I'm excited.
I know we've been like going back and forth, and we had some issues with our sound, but that's all set now.
We got it fixed.
So, and we met 20 minutes ahead of time because technology is hard.
Yeah.
And we're writers, we're not computer gurus. Okay, I have to ask you, what are you drinking? Is it one of your beautiful concoctions?
Actually, I'm drinking what people, Starbuckers, know as a medicine ball. I
Oh,
don't have a cold or anything, but I love it. It's a combination of peach, mint citrus, and lemonade, and a little honey. And it's so good.
wow. Oh, wow.
So
Okay,
if
we
you
have.
ask for a medicine ball, that's what you'll get. And truly, if you have a cold, it really works. I don't have one
Wow.
thankfully, but I still like it. So.
Well, I mean, honey, anything with honey is great.
Yeah.
I just bought myself because I bought myself a Keurig for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and so I'm like loving it. I'm loving it, and I get to make keep sharing those beautiful posts of your coffees
Yes.
because I'll try to make them. Okay,
Oh,
we have somebody on, and just remember, guys, we can't see who you are on the live stream because if you aren't signed into what's it called, StreamYard. So we've got somebody here, and we've got somebody else from Texas. Is that? Yep, everyone's excited. We've got people all over. So, Miss Tamara Leigh, tell me a little bit about what you do, how you got started, and let's go there.
long story. Yeah, in 1993, I signed my first contract with Bantam for 4 medieval romances. It was in the general market. And this was while I was working as a speech language pathologist. And when I got the 4-book contract, same day that I learned I was pregnant with our first child, I decided to take a year off to be able to fulfill the contract. So I took a year's leave with the hope that at the end of that, I would know whether or not I could actually truly pursue the dream of writing, or if I needed to have a second job. And it worked out. So I was able to, even though I loved being a speech pathologist, it allowed me to stay home and raise our first son and then our second son and write. So I wrote 7 books for the general market. And then in 2006, switched over to the inspirational market, which it's a long story how I got there, but I needed to get there. I just was not comfortable with my growing Christianity. I was not comfortable writing the requisite love scenes. And, being asked to replace things that were important during the medieval time period to people who were very faith-driven and faith-filled. They'd say, that's too preachy, add a love scene. I know. I needed to. So I did, but whenever I did, I had hoped to bring my medievals into the inspirational market, and the publishers were all really interested. But in the end, they said, we've evaluated, and we've never done well with medieval that genre in the Christian market. And they said, give us something different. And that's how I ended up writing 7 contemporary romances,
which I love, by the way.
Thank you.
I love. Oh my gosh, you have me rolling on the floor laughing. Seriously.
Where I get that from? Well, it's my husband. He's a wild man. He brings out the humor in me. I was like, it rubs off. So
yeah. I know. I hear that. So, your contemporary romances are fantastic as well. So go ahead.
So anyways, it was after 7 of those, so 7 in the general market and 7 in the inspirational market. Like, I can't help it. My OCD says I love that. I decided, I'd been told whenever they said, give us something different besides medieval romance. I've been told that once you get, my agent said, once you get your foot in the door, chances are they'll say, okay, you've got an audience now. Let's see if we can move them to your medieval romances, which is your true passion and love. Mm-hmm. And so when I decided after the 7th one that I really wanted to go back to the medieval genre, shopped that around and came back to the same thing. They won't sell. They will not sell. I'm like, okay. This was in 2011, and in 2012, I just kind of said that I'm going to try the indie thing, and released the first one, Dream Spell, independently, and it did very well. And then I started with The Age of Faith, and in between those started rewriting the general market ones into clean reads, got rid of the love scenes. And I have to tell you, it's not just because of that they're better books, it's that I had more experience and I was able to rewrite something that's, well, gosh, they first started being published in 93, 94. And so here it is, like, oh my gosh, 18 years later, I was able to rewrite them better. I had more experience, and I'd cringe over all this point of view flipping and flopping, which was fine in the 90s. But in the 2000s, people are going, point of view. I was like, oh yeah. So, but they're actually richer stories because I was able to rely far less on the love scenes and more on the emotional and the faith to bring my hero and heroine together. So I've told people that if you were to put the original Warrior Bride in a plagiarism check with Lady at Arms, which is the rewrite, it would pass no plagiarism because it is so rewritten, so thorough.
Wow.
Basic story plot's all there, but sentence structure, paragraphs, everything's changed. So.
Yes, when I generally drive my poor editor crazy because I have to, she'll edit it, and then a couple of years later, it comes up for publishing, and I'll be like, okay, let me look what we have here, and I have to rewrite the whole book because a few years ago, the bouncing around of the POV, I was doing that, I'm like, oh,
you cringe.
So yeah, poor woman, she's so good with me. She'll just be like, I know how you work, so let's just get this over with. I know I edited it, but we'll just do it again. So, but yeah, it's if you put my stories side by side, if I've rewritten them, completely different, which is kind of exciting. But I love, I love all your stories. My husband, he has a fun time listening. Spellbound, I think, is his favorite. Correct? I don't know. Dreamspell. Sorry, Dreamspell. Yes. Yes. That, and you know what? I never liked time travel type thing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I can't even. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna ask. Diane Jewell. Diane, sweet Diane. You're a new author to me. What is the first inspirational book you wrote? What book should I read first?
Well, the first inspirational one written for a Christian publisher was Stealing Out of the contemporary humorous story about a historical romance author, which does actually have, it was a cathartic thing. It does actually have a lot of my experiences in it.
Oh my gosh.
Chinese restaurant, I was there in New York with my editor. It is pretty close to exact. That was a wake-up call.
I was laughing so hard. Oh my gosh. It is such a funny book. It's great. Your contemporary books are a lot of fun. But I do love the medieval, and it's really strange because I'm not into the medieval stuff. Totally not. In fact, it's like when I first heard about you, people are like, "Oh, she writes medieval romance." I'm like, yeah, good for her. No, sorry. I'm like, that's great. And then somebody's like, oh my gosh, you've got to read the first book in the Age of Faith
The
book.
Unveiling.
Yeah, yeah, yes. I'm
Yes.
like, oh, fine, I'll read it. It was on sale. I'm like, okay, I'll read it. I was like, oh, what is this?
Thank you.
I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to read them all. So, I got them all. And, and I read them all. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then you came out with Merciless.
Yes,
Oh,
the Age of Conquest series. Yep, yep.
wow. I think I was totally hooked on that series. I think when you ended it,
I know. If I have to say which is my favorite book, is surprising to me. It's the last book, Dauntless. I
it's so good.
didn't expect that, and it was funny. I was meeting with my friend Patty, and we were having coffee, and we were kind of talking about silver foxes, and just kind of like I was thinking, what if I were, I've laid the groundwork for these first 3 or 4 books about who the father is of all these characters.
I know.
I was like, what if I, and it developed as I went because I'm a seat of the pants writer. And I went, gosh, I want to know his story. What if I were to make that my last book in the series? And, go back another step in time. And I was so happy with how it came out. It was like, I probably should hang up the pen and paper right now because I can never feel better about a book than this one.
I know. And it's so incredible because it's 20 years before.
Yes.
And you put it at the end. It was brilliant. I'm like, wow. I and of course, I cried. Yes. And hi, Kristen.
Hi, Kristen.
Sweetheart, I love you. Thanks for. Hey, what'd you bring? Kristen makes these. She's a baker. She makes
Oh.
some amazing snacks. Okay, so I do want to talk about Merciless and how you came up, because it's actually, yeah, and how you came up with the whole. Do you plan out a series, or do they just? Are you a planter plotter?
No, because even with series, I'm mostly seat of the pants. Late, Age of Faith became 8 books.
Yeah.
I thought in my mind, okay, I will write a series, but I planned on it being 3 books with Gar and his 2 sisters. And then as I developed those characters, the other brothers, people were like, well, where's this Abel story and Everard's story? And then they wanted to know the secondary character of Durand and then Elias. I was like, oh, I like the number 8. Let's go for 8. And so it's funny, when I was planning out Age of Conquest, that I did, probably the most planning I did was in my mind was have enough characters, because I'd love it to be another 8-book series. Make sure you have enough characters. And that was kind of the part where I'd come up with, I knew for sure 7 of the characters would have a story. And that was why it was like divine inspired when it was like, who's the 8th going to be? Oh, the father of them all.
So wait, did you know that you were going to end it with the parents?
No, that one is until I think I believe I was writing or just finished Reckless when it came to me. And I was thinking, well, this will be the 6th book, and then the 7th. And I was like, and it just came to us like, why don't you, Tammy, as the writer, seat of the pants writer, you want to know all the story. So you laid all these little crumbs. Let's put them together. It's like, and I told Patty, and she's like, oh my gosh, yes. And she encouraged me, and she was sending me all these stock photos of these silver foxes. And I went, okay, I got
it. Okay. You have like the best cover reveals, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I always look forward to your cover reveals. They're so inspirational. And okay, as an author, I need to know where you get your stock picture. Do you do stock pictures, or do you have models?
You're talking about for the cover reveal? Who does
for the covers? Yes.
Yeah. I use I have a graphic artist who's been with me almost the entire time. She's now done all my covers, and she's in England. She's an American expat. She lives in England with her husband. She's totally amazing. And Usually, not always, but usually we get the images from deposit photos. Sometimes there's period images we've gotten some from, but usually, I love the way we work so well together, because I've kind of got to the point where I know what that hero or heroine is supposed to look like. And so I go looking for hours and hours and days, and then I'll present her a bunch of these different models and send her the links and say, I think this would work. What do you think? Will this work? And she might say, yeah, I don't really like the resolution on this. It's not sharp enough. And so we work together, and sometimes I haven't been able to find a good model, but I go, well, close. And she'll go, let me find one. And she'll find me the perfect ones.
I know. Right. Well, yeah, that's awesome. I love having a really good relationship. I think you kind of need to have a close relationship with your cover designer. I have a very close.
I love it.
I have a very close relationship with mine, but I think it really helps because, well, you're putting a lot of trust in them.
Yes.
And so. Oh, hey, Amy's on too. Hi, girls. So they're my peeps. Everyone's my peeps in this. But yeah, I think that is really important because you have a picture in mind of what that cover is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And when they can nail it and I remember one of my covers, she nailed it like right out the bat, and I was crying. I was crying because
I do that too.
Oh,
look at this.
Right. Because it was just like, it's my book. So anyway, right now she's actually upstairs in her room. She said she's working on the next cover, so I will not. I know I know what it sort of looks like, and so I'm like, anyway, we've got so many fun people joining us. And I don't know who is who, so you'll just have to. I know Kristen's on because she's signed in, so it's helpful to sign into stream. But anyway, so I do have a question. Hold on, before I lose my shoot. I don't know. We'll just play it by ear. So why medieval stuff?
I was a romance reader before I started writing them. I just really enjoyed them. I'd read all different time periods, contemporary, a few Western. I could never get into Westerns. But I really, some Regencies like that, but I really, when I found medievals, I just,
Right?
I loved them so much. So, that was like, write what you love, and I think that really came through, and it helped in terms of research. I mean, I do a lot of research, but when you're starting off as a writer, if research can take a lot of time and a lot of energy, so if you're reading something, if you've read 20, 50, 100 books that are in that genre, you have a feel for it. You understand what a bliau is and what a garderobe is, and so you're not like going, well, where do they go to the bathroom? Behind a tree. So that's why I turned to medievals, just because I would read these books and I loved them, and then I'd read somewhere, I go, I wouldn't have done it that way.
Because I know it all.
It could have been better. So,
I know medieval times could have been so much better if somebody had asked me about it. Yeah. Oh, I know. I've said this before. I was writing my my historical fiction Journey to Joy, and my editor and I got into it about the bathrooms. I was like, no, we're gonna put a bathroom in. She's like, girl, this is 1833. The only house that they didn't have bathrooms. I'm like, yes, they did. No, they did not. So it was like, oh, finally I had to like change things, which I wasn't so thrilled about, but it worked out.
Those fours.
Oh my gosh. And then you've got the story in mind. And you're like, wait a minute. I need to make history fit to my story because that's the way it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just, yeah, it's crazy. Um, and I wanted to ask everyone, since we're here, go do a Google search. Please share what history, Kristen. Okay. Oh, the yeah, no. I'm not gonna share the Google search.
That's funny. I took me a
Oh,
moment to get clue in, like,
I
what?
know. I'm like, what? What is she talking about? Some of my Google search. I mean, I think you've heard. Well, we as authors, we talk about it all the time. That if I'm waiting for the FBI to show up on my door.
I can get away with it a little more as like she's looking into swords. Okay, she's fine.
What? You're okay because you're medieval. I don't
Yes.
know. But I am right now I'm looking into, when I was writing Finding Courage, I'm like looking into how to get by a metal detector and or how to, and right now it's all about police procedure and dog training and all that stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that we live in the middle of the woods and nobody can find us. and we can hear them coming, So, but yeah, oh my gosh, so funny. But no, we don't want anybody to know our search history because that would be really bad. Let's see. Oh, so we're gonna really quickly talk about your news. Hold on. What is this? Um, yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can get away with it better than you can.
I think you can. I mean, right now I'm like, oh my gosh, people are great.
Pretty.
I know. Oh, that's not even. Especially since I'm German. I am still a German citizen.
Are you
So
really?
I am. I have not. I've been here longer than I ever lived in Germany.
Wow.
But I have my green card, so I'm a legal alien. But it's yeah, my bomb sniffing dog. Hello, Casey. Yeah, my bomb sniffing dog. Well, this one is a police dog, so I have done a lot of like YouTube's great. What is your favorite? You do a lot of actual book reading, correct? When you research.
Oh yeah. Both sides of me are my main collections, and yes. And I'm sorry to say this. Some people get really upset, but I do highlight books.
Really?
Unless they're antiques, I have bought some that are kind of cost me quite a bit to be able to go back and get like a 1912 edition of something. And it's like, I was like, I'll use the little sticky tabs, that stick out the side.
Mm-hmm.
Refer here because it's like I just can't mark up something that's over 100 years old. But
oh yeah, no.
You open any of my books, I mean, there's probably nothing on my shelf that you won't find highlights. It's like it's a tool. So,
it is a tool. That's you need more of them. Well, I mean, and some of the books that you use, I mean, holy moly, they're beautiful. I've seen what you've shared, and it's like, oh, beautiful book. I would not mark that up for sure.
I always hesitate, but the first mark, it's funny. I can't help. The first highlight I make in the book is when I open it, that cover leaf, and there's the year 2018, and I highlight it. And that's where I go from there. Once I've done that, I can do the rest because I just let myself know it's not that old. It's okay. You can still get more.
It's not antique yet. Highlights of love. That's awesome, Casey. Okay, hold on. What is this? We can use part of it as devotionals. Okay. Yep. Okay, we can do that. I lost my train of thought, but I also want to have our listeners ask Tamara some questions if that's okay with you, Tamara, because I'm
absolutely.
sure they are dying just as I am to ask you so many questions. And I have more. Let's talk about Valorous.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Yes.
as readers of the Age of Conquest series know, Valorous began in the fourth book uh,
Yes.
of Heartless. And again, it was the seat of the pants thing when I was thinking about, can I write an epilogue that is kind of sad in that, you know, these people are dying, but it's like, yeah, you can, because they're old. They got to have a long life together. And so whenever I decided that, there was going to, this is these two characters that have to basically, they're exiled themselves so that the king doesn't get them. It's like, I want people to know they're still around. And so I was like, what if a couple 100 years from now, a letter he writes to her and this other thing show up, at the doorsteps of the Wolfriths.
Excuse me for a second. I'm okay. I'm okay.
Oh my gosh, I love you.
Right.
Anyway, so that's
okay.
kind of
Hold on, Casey. No, go continue. Don't mind me while I'm kidding. We go. Continue.
Okay. So, anyways, when I decided that, I'm going to bring their story back sometime in the future. I thought, I love the 100 Years' War. That was really 116. They didn't call it that because they didn't know it was going to last that long between England and France. And I thought, why not set it there so then we can have these things show up on the Wolfrith family's doorstep, these proof of what happened to these two characters. And so, of course, when I'm doing that, I'm having to write this epilogue that includes that letter he writes to his wife as he's dying. And
I'm sorry.
So the thing is, that was when I was like, okay, there you go. There's your Age of Honor series. I wanted to write the Age of Honor series. That's for replacing it. And that's going to hopefully be another 8-book series.
Wow.
And I thought that would be the first chapter. But whenever I actually sat down to write it, I realized it didn't introduce my new characters well enough.
Yeah.
And so that's why I've got
I saw that. You surprised me. I was very surprised there when I sneaked a peek at the highlight or edits that you did. Okay, Kristen, thank you for your concern. I am okay. I'll be all right. Okay. But seriously, I mean, that Heartless was like,
thank you.
I don't want to talk about it. I think I needed to have therapy after that. No. Okay. Yes, book always. Okay. How long does it take you to write? Okay. How long does it take you to write a story on average?
Usually about 6 months. And that really came back to whenever I got my first contract and found out I was pregnant at the same time. And part of the stipulation why I had to take the year off was Bantam wanted a book every 6 months. I was like, huh? I spent 9 months or so writing this first one. So I kind of got in that mode. And that wasn't necessary when I crossed over to the Christian market. They wanted one once a year. And so I got a little lazy. But when I went back to it, I just kind of figured about every 6 months. And that's what mostly they take. The rewrites took about 3 to 4 months because, like I said, that was pretty intensive.
Yep.
But Lawless, the book 7, and Dauntless, the book 8, and Age of Conquest took about, I think one was 4 months, one 4.5 months. And it just because so much groundwork was laid and I had some great momentum and there was at that time quite a bit of peace in my life, which is very important. So I was able to do that to write them quicker. Whereas Valorous took all of 6 months and I was kind of discouraged because I'm thinking the last 2 took 4-ish months. And I was like, I had to be, just like my friend Patty was, like, come back. It's okay.
Yeah, you're fine. I mean,
Number one, you're laying a foundation for a whole series. It's going to take longer because you're not now building on characters already introduced. You got to introduce those characters. And so it was frustrating from the fact going, I was writing so much faster.
Right.
Overall, it took about 6 months. So,
right. Yeah. And well, what is really impressive to me is that you write the books by hand.
I do mostly, almost exclusively. Yeah. The only reason I put that little qualifier in there is that was probably some of the reason why I also wrote Lawless and Dauntless quicker, was I did not have the transfer from paper to computer. Lawless was at least half on the computer, half handwritten. For some reason, it was flowing so well, I was able to do both. And then Dauntless was probably 80% on the computer. And that was another frustrating thing, was I was going, I can finally write on the computer again. I'm inspired. I don't have to retype all this in and do that kind of thing. And then I hit Valorous and it was back to pen and paper. It was like I refused to write.
No. Like,
darn. I do find I write usually better pen and paper because it just it stops the editor in me from trying to make a perfect page instead of 4 or 5 imperfect pages that are easier to edit than to write. Yeah. But that didn't happen with Valorous.
Yeah, no. Okay, hold on. We've got some great questions. Here we go. How do you choose where to set your books? What made you choose the 1300s?
Well, typically it's especially the more I get into, like with the Age of Conquest series, it's what exciting events in history are going to carry over, not a 3-book series, but a larger series. And that was so cool. When I was researching, I knew I wanted to set during the Norman Conquest, but it's like, is there enough material here for 7, 8 major events that I could give each character a part in, so that I'm not only giving people a romance, but I'm also being very true to history so they can see all that happened that led up to England being basically Norman French. Mm-hmm. And I found all those different, the Isle of Ely and, the problems with the Scots. And I was like, okay, this is Perreault's story. And,
so fascinating. That's what makes it so fascinating, I think, for somebody who can't stand the Middle Ages. I'm like, oh, this is so interesting, because Middle Ages to me is just like but you make the characters so real. And even though they lived so many years, hundreds of years ago, they just become friends. I'm like, oh yeah, they're so cool. Anyway,
I really miss the Age of Conquest. They're imaginary Tammy. I was like, I miss them.
I have listened. Okay, I love listening to your audios, and we'll come to that in a little bit. But I've probably listened to all of them.
Oh, wonderful.
3 times, maybe. I'm like, oh, I haven't listened to Merciless in a while. And I'm like, hi, guys. How are you? And the thing is, I have all the books on Kindle as well, so I can make notes. But then, okay, I'm going to go back to the questions in a minute. But so I'll make notes, and I'm like, why am I even making notes? These characters are speaking in medieval English. And so I'm starting to think in that, medieval English, and my characters suddenly sound like, Sateria,
tis twas forsooth.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, no, you guys belong to the 21st century. So let's step back. But it's hilarious when that happens. So what is the hardest part? Coming up with a series or writing the individual components or books of that series? Good question, Kristen.
Well, that is a good question. Well, overall, writing the books, because they're each one's at least 100,000 words, some as many as 25,000. But really, laying the foundation for a series, it is a lot of work because you've got, it's the hardest part is how to introduce the characters that are going to come in other books without overwhelming the reader. First chapter, here's Hector with his, 5 siblings, and you're going, and I know it's straight in my mind, but I go, okay, step back. You got to introduce that character later on, and
slowly,
a little later. So it's and being a seat of the pants writer, it's kind of, it's hard. So I would say really writing each one is the hardest part, but laying the foundation it's a lot of work too. You are, if you decide you want to do something different and you've released the first couple books, you go, how do I get around that? You don't.
I'm being daring right now, and I think I've talked to you about this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super daring, stepping out of my comfort zone right now, because this series that I'm working on is going to be not business as usual, and it's been interesting.
Okay.
To me. So anyway, but yeah, definitely.
You're really curious because I don't think you've talked to me enough about that.
Okay, no, it's just I can't.
Okay, we'll talk.
Okay, we'll talk later. But yeah, let's see. What is the hardest part? Okay, and I like this because this is always a question I want to ask you. And I know it's so hard because you're like, oh, please don't ask me this question, because they're all your favorites. But if you had to choose, what is your favorite book and character?
Well, the last time I was asked this a couple years ago when I was doing a different interview, I had said that, and it was very true. Pretty much the characters that are my favorite are the ones that I'm writing at the moment.
Yeah.
When I'm halfway through and they've become a part of me. But as we mentioned, I really feel, and I could be wrong, I could change my mind, but I really feel my favorite book is Dauntless, because I've never felt so strongly about a story. When I was done, I was like, it will break my heart if readers don't like this book, because it, to me, is the most meaningful and it's the best thing I've ever written in my mind. And I don't think I'll ever top it. And that's also was part of the part where I'm freezing up on Valorous, because I'm going, it's not as good as Dauntless. Like, I know it wouldn't be, but you should be close.
Yes, isn't that is so interesting, because I mean, you are, in my mind, you're one of those authors that I aspire to be. I know, because you've done so much and you're incredibly good, so, but it's actually really comforting to me to hear you say that, because when people talk about, what's your favorite character, what's your favorite book, I'm like, yeah, the one that I'm writing right now, but and the fear of not making the standard is like, oh my gosh,
you gotta keep going up and you go, oops,
right. And when you're like in the edits and you go, oh, this is not cutting it. I was there with The Gift. I think I've told that to people. I was there, and my editor and I were like, it's not cutting it.
Yeah.
So I had to rewrite the whole thing.
Oh, that would kill
twice.
What?
Twice.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I had rewritten it for the edits, and then we're like, no, this is not cutting it. And then we're like, yeah, I had the same feeling as my editor, which was good. Yeah. And I was like, hey, do you feel this? And she's like, yep. I'm like, okay, stop what you're doing. I'm going back, or I'm starting right here. And I actually started to rewrite it in the middle of the book.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. That was really weird. Anyway, but that was just something. How much research time? Okay, here we go. How much research time do you do?
Well, less than I used to, because I'm now, back all the way into the medieval. So I have a really good foundation. Really what I focus on, like whenever I started for the new series, it was like, okay, I need to know really well. I need to sink into the actual events of these, 1400s. I really need to know what's going on, so I know I have an idea of where these stories are going to land. And so I did a lot of reading, and I do a lot of research on audiobooks via audiobooks if I can find a good one. And so, for instance, when I was reading, working on the Age of Conquest, I listened to what's his name? I don't have it anymore. It was called The Norman Conquest. I can't think of what the author's name is. I'm so sorry, whatever your name is, because you helped me a lot. But it's like an 800-page book. And I listened to that audiobook probably 5 times. So it's like 25 hours each time. And I'd be driving to Starbucks in the morning, driving back, and just sink into it. And truly, an audiobook is wonderful. To me, I've even found, as long as you got a good one that's got a lot of meat to it, and you just kind of keep playing it over and over your head, so that when I go, okay, I know this event happened and I know it's about this time period. So then I flip open the book and I can get the exact details to be sure, but I know exactly where to go. And I've got that little thing going, this is a good place to use this, as a plot device. So yeah, but a lot of it's research as I go, hey.
Yes. Oh, and then you go, oh shoot, how did I miss that? And you go, oh, I should rewrite this and make it better. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Kristen, I am not Kristen, dear. I'm not going to tell you anymore because you'll be getting the book within like 2 weeks anyway. So Kristen's actually one of my beta readers, so it'll be fun for her. Will you ever go back to writing contemporary romance?
I have people ask me that, and I really enjoyed it. I was surprised because I love medievals, but it was a really nice change, a pace for me. And I do think it kind of refueled the medieval tank, because the medieval is sitting back there and just kind of like simmering, like, okay, in case you got bored with us, we're just back here cooking up good stuff. I did start, before I decided I'm going indie and going back to medievals, I did start another contemporary series, and I had probably about 150 pages of the first book written, and I was really loving it. And so it was kind of hard to finally go, I love this, and I can see this being a great series, and it would be so enjoyable, but I had to let it go because I wanted to go back to medieval. So will I ever write them again? If I did, that's the series I would pick up again. And so I have the bones of it. I know, because I was writing it for a traditional publisher to submit it. And they always need to know more than the seat of the pants can do. So I had a lot of the bones that would go into the whole series. And so they're just sitting there in my computer. But I don't know. I mean, if I ever need a change of pace, that's probably back where I'd go. Yeah. So
okay.
Nothing in
there you go. That's all right. It's all good. What is the craziest thing you've ever done in the name of research on a book? Oh my gosh, this is a great question.
Stumbled around holding a sword, falling down, trying to figure out where the sword would land. If I was holding it this hand, how it would land if I swung it this way. I have an actual sword my husband bought me 27 years ago. It's not sharpened on the edges, fortunately. The
Good.
Sharp. But I've done that, and the embarrassing thing is when your son walks in and goes, "What are you doing?" No, I'm being a warrior, just trying to make sure this is right. This would really hurt. So I would say that's one of the crazy.
Oh my gosh.
The other thing is when you go, now he's hugging her here and he's here, and they're going, would her head go this way or that way?
That's awesome.
So,
that is awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is hilarious. Okay. That is just great. Oh my gosh. You're right. See, this is what I knew was going to happen when we ever get together.
Oh yes, we must really in person.
I know. Well, anyway, how about a time slip? Oh, she's done it. She has done it, and it is fantastic. If you have not read Dreamspell and the other one, what's the other one called?
Lady Ever After.
Yes.
it combines the contemporary. It's a time travel, combining the contemporary with the medieval kind of thing, but it's
It's
close.
oh my gosh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I'd like
It's
to do another
really,
one.
really, really good.
I like
Uh,
time travel.
yeah, it was again not my favorite to read.
Yeah.
And then I have the audio, and my husband he likes that kind of stuff, and I'm
Mhm.
like, fine, we'll listen to this. Tamara Leigh, so it's good anyway. So we're listening to it, and I'm like, oh, 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 another chapter. He's like, yeah, let's go. It's midnight, but just let's keep going. Let's keep reading and listening. So yeah, definitely, they're really, really good.
Thanks.
They're fantastic. Um, question from me to
Yes,
you. Your audiobooks now. You have a new narrator.
I do. Paul
So,
Draper.
okay,
Yes.
talk, chat. How
Paul.
about them?
Well, I actually, I've Mary Sarah narrated 32 of my books, including some of the contemporaries, and I think they're just beautiful narrations and productions. But I just kind of felt like I wanted to change, and I myself really enjoy books narrated by males if they're really good.
Mm-hmm.
They're especially, when you're kind of dealing with some subjects I do. Mary Sarah is very talented in that she can affect a man's voice very well as a
Yeah,
woman's voice, and
she's great.
that's why it works so well with her. And whenever I put out auditions and decided I'm going to look into a male narrator, just see what I can come up with, and I had several in mind that I'd listened to other works that they had, medieval works that they had done, and I was like, would you audition for this? And they're like, oh yes, absolutely. And I got some great auditions, and I went with Paul just because I felt his voice was. I mean, it's harder for a man to make a woman to do a woman's voice, especially if he's got a great deep voice.
Right. Well, you've listened to have you listened to Brand of Light by Ronnie?
I've listened to part of it, haven't gotten through all of it. Yes, amazing. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, anyways, I went with Paul just because he very professional and just crisp, and he's truly British, and
Mhm.
we just had a great rapport back and forth. His audition, it was between his and another authors that I really loved. And I just my husband and I were going back and forth, and I was like, I just feeling drawn to Paul. I think he's the one. So we're like, okay, let's go with that. So I've been proofing the audio files coming in for that, and very happy, very happy with them. So I think it is going to be kind of hard for my listeners who have 32 books,
Yep.
female narrator, to switch over. I think it could be a difficult thing, but I hope they'll give him a try because he's really got a dreamy voice.
Well, that'll do it. That'll do it. Say no more.
I mean, when my hero talks, I'm like, who's that?
Hello. I know you.
It's okay if my heroine has a slightly deeper voice than I anticipated.
That's awesome. That is just awesome. Hold on. Somebody said sounds amazing. Yes, it'll be amazing. Oh, when is the audiobook supposed to come out?
Well, it's I was hoping it would release around February 7th, but the files are coming in a bit slow. My narrator got sick. Yeah, it's going around in England too. So,
Yeah.
but hopefully middle to late February. So it shouldn't be too long after the ebook, or he might suddenly just take off, and it might release at the same time. You just never know.
Right. Well, whenever it's out, it'll be fantastic. Question by somebody, don't know who, but that's okay. So, is Hector the Baron mentioned in the end of the Feud series?
The end of the Feud series mentioned Owen, And Owen, Sir Owen, when I wrote the feud series, I liked the name Sir Owen. I wanted to give one of the Wolfers that name, and I named him Sir Owen. But whenever I developed the actual series, and I decided Hector was going to be my young baron, I made Owen the uncle that aids with training, because I hadn't in the feud, I hadn't said what his role was only that he was Sir Owen. I love the name Owen too. So he is pulled into it. And I actually was playing with this idea when I was writing Valorous, is like, he was kind of destined to be a hero. And it's like, how about I could give him at least a side love story? Because he's never been married in my mind. I was like, okay, I know who's the woman for it.
Nice.
I just need to find the right place to slide that extra love story in. So
you will. You can.
I hope so.
Pretty sure. Gosh. Question. Quickly. What was I thinking? Oh, I don't know. Are the Wolfriths real? Because a lot of I know. Okay, so you base them on their fiction.
They're totally fiction.
Because I love how you bring in history so much into the books, and hello, the Conqueror was real.
Yes.
And, of course they are. Yeah, I know they're real. But let's see, are they historically real? So Wolfenshire or Wolfen is not. Yeah, I'm like, maybe she based it off to where they train one of the army bases now or something like that. That became one of the army bases. But okay, so that's all fiction. Okay, I'm all right with that.
That's all fiction.
I'm all right with that.
They are a little imaginary piece between Leicestershire and Nottinghamshire. Is like I actually have a little map that I made. It's like, there's Wolfenshire.
I did that too. I did that too with like the skater series that I did. I was like, oh, I know exactly where they are. It's right there. Don't you see it on the map? It's fun to make your own little country, and it's definitely fun to. So they are real in our minds.
Yeah,
definitely good people. Have you been to England?
I'm embarrassed to say no.
No,
I've never viewed it. If not for COVID, I probably would have, because my son had said, the next time you visit me in Paris, we'll take the channel across so you can actually get to England, Mom. I'm like, oh, that'd be so nice. Well, that trip got canceled once and twice.
I know it's so hard. I haven't seen my parents in, I think it's been 4 years. Like face to face. Yikes. Yeah, that's and my family.
Time. I mean, I can't imagine doing this 15 years ago. It was far away. Like my heart would be broken. But I can almost every day and listen to him and talk to him. So.
Right. And I mean, my son's in California, so he always calls, and he's like, hey Mom, it's -11, or it was earlier when I got up. So he messages me, he's like, Mom, are you guys okay? It's -11. I'm like, yes, we are alive. So yeah, but I couldn't even imagine. I mean, if you hear somebody panting, it's my oh no, hey, it's not dinner time. No. No, I can't. No. No. Go. Thank you. Don't. She will be arguing with me because it's past 4. And she thinks between 4 and 6, it's like, I'm hungry. Okay.
Yeah. Mine lets me know about 4:30. Oh, I know it's time. And she adjusts the daylight savings time really well.
Well, it's always between 4 and 6. We're like, we get all excited. We're like, I am talking to you right now. And she has that, she is adorable, but she has that big German Shepherd voice.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
she uses. And I know you've got a German Shepherd too,
Yeah.
so and she uses it quite often when
Oh,
she's hungry. So here we go. Yes, I can't put Raven on because I'm on my computer, so sorry. What do you feel is the challenge to write historical fiction for a modern reader? Ooh.
ah, well, boiling down important historical facts that you're using to something that it's not overwhelming the reader, because if I put in all I wanted to in the Age of Conquest series, my readers would have been skimming. And so finding that right balance, and then
Yeah.
also flavoring the behavior of your characters and the speech. Because I try, I know some people get a little bit frustrated, with my tis and twas forsooth, but truly, I don't use that many. I just, every once in a while, instead of the person saying, it is well, I say, tis well.
Mhm.
Just the flavor of it. Because truly, if I wrote a medieval English, I wouldn't understand it. It
Yeah.
is like you read it and you're going, the S sounds like an F.
Yes, it looks like an F.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see what we got here. Your characters are so amazing and grand.
I
How do
know.
you think that? How do you think they all? No.
How I think
How
of
do you think? Yes.
uh,
Sorry.
I don't know. I just kind of in my head, like with Severine, when I just saw her as blonde with slightly wavy hair, and I barely mentioned that she only mentioned that she was blonde whenever that little excerpt in
Yep.
Heartless. But as I was writing the book, and my graphic artist started on the cover, and I sent her all these models that I wanted to use, and the one I liked the best was the one I used was redheaded, and she had a lot of curl in her hair, and I realized I can see her having that. I hadn't thought that far ahead, but it's like, okay, well, since we're at this point where I haven't released the book yet, I'm going to make it be curly hair kind of thing to fit with that. And so I don't know. I just have a lot of times, it's almost like I just know the hair color and kind of the general looks, if they're a petite person, tall, whatever. And when I start looking for the models, I'll see certain ones and go, that's her, or
Mhm.
that's close to her, or that could be her kind of thing.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yep. Casey would have died. Yes, I think.
Me too.
Yep, I would have been. Yeah,
Silas.
gone.
Definitely.
Gone. And what are you currently reading?
What am I currently reading? I'm reading a wonderful, wonderful book for an endorsement by Dorothy Adamek out of Australia, my friend. Uh, it's called Carry Me Close, and it is just beautiful because she combines storytelling with poetry, and not in a way that stops a person. It's just the way she describes things, and it's not overdone. It's just these little things where you just see the strawberry blushing and you're going, oh, I should go with that. But it's a great, great story. So that's not available yet, but I think probably she's releasing it March, possibly. But I'm in love with the story, so I've just got to do the endorsement, but it's
Nice.
wonderful. So, and it is
Nice.
her third book in the series that finishes at the Blue Rin series, and she's an amazing author.
Nice. Well, I mean, that's how I feel about you said, she uses beautiful poetry language. That's how I feel like that you write. You really use that. Your writing is very poetic, I guess. Have you ever read anything by Beth Allison Barr? She's a mysterious medieval historian who writes nonfiction. But some of the stories she's written about real people
Oh,
are really fantastic.
I have not heard of her. I will have to look her up. That's Allison there. Yeah, I haven't. Now I'm curious.
Yeah, right. And somebody else knows.
Hi, Patty.
Yes, yes. So, here we go. What is your favorite medieval fiction book that you didn't write? Ooh.
Oh, let me think. Oh, Oh, okay. This goes way, 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 way back to before I wrote my first book. It's called A Knight in Shining Armor by Jude Devereaux. Shoot, when was it? Probably released late 80s, and it's a time travel. I didn't like the ending.
Wow.
But I loved it otherwise. I was like, I would have done, I need a really solid happily ever after.
Oh,
but
me too.
The book overall. So
me too. Renaissance fairs. I've been twice.
I've been to several here in the Nashville area, not in recent years, and I enjoyed them. But I'm kind of I don't do well in crowds, and they get so boisterous in crowds like that. I kind of stand back and kind of people watching. So I did enjoy them. I think I went to one before we moved from the Lake Tahoe area to one up at Lake Tahoe, and that was wonderful because it was in the woods, and it was beautiful.
Wow, nice. Okay, Kristen said the one in Arlington is fun. So
yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I think that's one. It's been quite a while since I went, but they were good.
Okay, we are approaching the 1 hour mark. See, we've done so good. And you will.
I can't get to a half hour. Look at this.
I know. So we're gonna take one or two more questions, and then we're gonna let Tamara go because honestly, these are exhausting. We're gonna go sleeping after this.
Time.
Oh, wow.
There is a castle there. There is, and you can do tours of it. It's
nice.
Cool.
Thank you. Love the interview. Yes, that was a lot of fun. Why is that? Well, it has been.
Oh, thank you, Anne. It was so nice to.
Oh, yes. What is your favorite Starbucks drink? I know it. Maybe. Pumpkin spice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
My overall one is always caramel macchiato. But when pumpkin spice comes out, it's hard to get away from that.
Yes.
I don't care if there's more calories. Give it to me. Triple venti.
Oh, wow.
I love it.
I do have a quick question, but I don't know how to frame it. The spiritual content in your books is so uplifting, and so how do you prepare for that?
I pray a lot. I pray about my writing. I ask God to inspire me.
Okay.
But I think I pretty much, a lot of times, when I'm writing these things, I think the human experience, it's everything shares these same problems, the same, whether it's, framed this way or that way. And, so I can sink myself into a character that's going through, difficult times and kind of take that on and think, how devastated would I be if I have not been in that situation? How would I be? And where would I find my strength? If I don't have someone I can talk to, there's, I need to turn to the Lord. I need to be on my knees praying. I need to be, reading the Bible and finding inspiration there. So.
Okay. So Kristen is inviting you to stop by her work. I'm telling you, you've gotta.
I want to by Meredith.
Meredith, say hi.
I know there's a lot of coffee out there better than Starbucks. I know.
But Starbucks is her place.
It's consistent. We have a new independent open here in Goodlettsville, and I'm so excited. But they just open, and they can't get enough staffing to open the dining room, so I can go in there and write. You can only
no. You poor thing. So the other day I found myself sitting once again at Dunkin Donuts, and I'm telling you, it was kind of nice. I haven't been able to, since the whole COVID. But it was kind of cool to sit there, and I'm like, hey, this is my seat. And we only have 2 Dunkin Donuts in town, so but yeah, it's just fun to mix it up a little bit. Although I love being in my corner this is where I'm at,
I do, almost every single morning, with the exception of Sundays, I go to Starbucks. And most of the time I'm doing administrative stuff there, editing or typing in my pages. The actual it's really rare I actually write there because it's too much noise.
Yep.
But those things I can do. And I just like the fact that otherwise I'd be holed up at home all day long, just no interaction whatsoever. And so, I come home and that's where most of the real writing happens, when hubby's not making a lot of noise.
Oh, yeah. Amazing. And then you have a grandpup?
Oh, yes.
Okay, why bacon? Okay, here's Kristen. We have a Starbucks right down the road from work. I'll go to, I can't read this. I'll go to get one of the fruit drinks and walk into work. My regulars give me all kinds of grief. Yeah, I bet. Okay. So you have a new grandpuppy and she's so cute.
She is, and I was trying to veer Skylar and Mariella away from bacon.
Bacon? I couldn't believe it. I
was like, even if it were a boy, which would be more appropriate, I was like, really? And finally Skylar says to me, Mom, everybody loves bacon. And
it's Lady Bacon though.
Yeah, well, I tagged on that because he said, but Mariola has given her saint's name is Francis Assisi. And so I went, well, then I want people to know I'm not talking about a little pork belly pig or that it's a male. So I'm going to use Bacon Assisi. Assisi is cute, like a girl's name. And I'll put Lady in front of it. Then everyone knows it's Lady Bacon Assisi. So that's fine with me, Mom. But it's bacon.
Okay. When's the wedding date?
Oh, it looks like we're probably 2 years away. So, I wish it weren't, but it does make it much more likely we can get to Spain, which is where her family is, and so that's where the wedding will be. So, yeah.
It's so hard. I mean, you can't plan. Yeah. You can call her Crispy Bacon.
That's so good. I got to tell Skylar.
That's awesome.
That is so awesome.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you, Tamara. This was a lot of fun, and I knew it was going to be.
You made it awesome. I was worried I was going to be nervous, but my mouth isn't dry, which is usually I'm like, thank you.
No, it's a lot of fun. Hey. Hi there, Errol. Oh, well, you know what? Catch us on the replay because we need to let Tamara go. But
bye.
Yeah. Thank you. Definitely. Thank you for spending the time with us. And I just want to wish you all the best. And you've got a retreat coming up that I really.
Next time.
I know. I'm telling you, next time. My husband's doing a lot better. I couldn't leave him.
Yeah, I understand
that long. Because I'm his. I got to cook for him. Ew. So
I understand.
So he's doing better. Yay. I hope. So we are going to let everyone go, but Tamara, don't go yet. Stay. Okay. Everyone, bye. Thank you, Tamara.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Thank you for joining us.